On the 20th of August in 1153, the monastic world mourned the passing of Bernard of Clairvaux, a prominent French theologian and saint. Born in 1090, he played an essential role in the reform of monastic life during the medieval period. Bernard founded the Cistercian order in 1115 at Clairvaux, promoting a return to strict monasticism. His teachings emphasized austerity, prayer, and labor, shaping the spiritual landscape of medieval Europe. Bernard was a gifted preacher who traveled extensively to promote the Second Crusade, calling for Christian unity against the Muslim forces in the Holy Land. His eloquent sermons inspired many knights to take up arms. As a staunch advocate for the reformation of the Church, Bernard influenced Pope Eugene III, advocating the necessity of church reforms amidst the growing corruption and political entanglement of religious leaders. In 1131, he wrote on the consideration of the atonement, addressing the nature of Christ's sacrifice and its implications for humanity, further solidifying his role as a theological authority. Bernard also played a key role in the development of Mariology, emphasizing the role of Mary, the mother of Jesus, in salvation history, which flourished in later Christian tradition. In his later years, Bernard faced declining health, but continued to lead his monastic community with unwavering faith and humility, embodying the Cistercian ideals he espoused. Bernard died in 1153 at the age of 63 in the monastery of Clairvaux. Surrounded by the brethren he had devoted his life to. His last words echoed gratitude and humility. His influence persisted long after his death, as the Cistercian order flourished across Europe, promoting monasticism, scholarship, and lay spirituality, shaping medieval Christianity. Bernard's writings remained influential throughout the Middle Ages, particularly in shaping the thought of later theologians and mystics who drew from his concepts of love and spirituality. In art and literature, Bernard was depicted as a figure of wisdom and compassion, with his pious character inspiring countless works that celebrated his contributions to the faith. Bernard's impact extended to various spheres, influencing the politics of the Church and shaping the course of the Crusades through his eloquent advocacy and leadership. His canonization in 1174, just 2 decades after his death, attests to his lasting legacy and the high esteem in which he was held by both his contemporaries and followers. Bernard's emphasis on love, particularly in the context of religion, transformed the theological discourse of the time, inspiring future movements that focused on mysticism and personal devotion to God. With the expansion of Bernard's teachings, the Cistercian monks became known for their innovations in agriculture and architecture, improving the land they settled on. Schools established by Bernard's followers became centers of learning, influencing education and spirituality across the continent through their dedication to scholarship and piety. Bernard's teachings also contributed to the burgeoning theological discussions around the nature of faith, impacting future religious thought and dialogue within the Church. St. Bernard of Clairvaux's feast day remains celebrated in the Christian liturgical calendar, highlighting the enduring relevance of his contributions to spirituality and monastic life. His influential letters and treatises circulated widely, serving as guides for spiritual formation and attracting followers eager to embrace his message of love and humility. Beyond the Church, Bernard's thoughts on social justice and the poor influenced thinkers of the Renaissance, leading to movements advocating for the welfare of the marginalized. His concise approach to spirituality, focusing on love for God and neighbor, resonated deeply with later Christian mystics, shaping the contemplative practices of the future generations. The Cistercian architecture exemplified by Bernard set a standard for simplicity and harmony with nature, influencing subsequent architectural styles throughout Europe. Bernard's teachings and legacy continue to inspire contemporary discussions around faith, ethics, and social action within the Church and society today. The essence of Bernard's life: dedicated service, profound love, and unwavering faith, remains a guiding light for countless individuals seeking a deeper connection with God. Bernard's early life began in 1090 in Fontaine-lès-Dijon, France, where he was born into a noble family. His early education included studying grammar, rhetoric, and logic, foreshadowing his eloquence in later theological debates. In 1113, at just 23 years old, Bernard entered the Cistercian monastery at Citeaux, a move symbolizing his commitment to a life of prayer and communal living. This decision marked the beginning of a transformative journey for the monastic community. By the age of 25, Bernard had gathered a group of disciples and founded a new abbey at Clairvaux in 1115. This foundation would eventually lead to the establishment of over 700 Cistercian monasteries across Europe during his lifetime. Bernard's reputation as a preacher escalated in the 1140s, particularly when he traveled to promote the Second Crusade. His impassioned speeches mobilized knights and nobles, making a significant impact on European society. Aside from his role in the Crusade, Bernard was key in advocating for the Cistercian reform by stressing the importance of returning to a more austere lifestyle in harmony with nature, reinforcing the monastic values of his order. Bernard's writings, including On the Consideration of the Atonement, contributed to theological debates in the early 12th century, emphasizing Christ's role in salvation and influencing numerous theological discourses. His relationship with Pope Eugene III was significant, as he advised the Pope on ecclesiastical reform matters. This influence exemplified Bernard's centrality within the Church hierarchy during his lifetime. Bernard was a pioneering figure in Mariology, promoting devotion to the Virgin Mary, which led to her elevated status in Christianity. He penned several hymns dedicated to Mary, which resonated deeply with the faithful. As his health began to decline in the early 1150s due to illness, Bernard continued to lead his monastic community with unwavering faith, demonstrating his commitment to his spiritual life and responsibilities. In his final days, Bernard remained resolute and composed, offering guidance to his disciples and expressing concern for the future of the Church he had worked tirelessly to reform throughout his life. On August 20th, 1153, Bernard passed away at the Abbey of Clairvaux, surrounded by his devoted brethren. His death marked not just the loss of a leader, but the end of an era in monastic reform. Following his death, Bernard's influence expanded as his writings circulated widely, impacting theologians, reformers, and the Christian faithful. This period marked the beginning of his posthumous legacy. Bernard was canonized in 1174 by Pope Alexander III, affirming his status as a saint and solidifying his place in Christian history as an architect of monastic and spiritual renewal. His teachings and writings on Christian ethics, devotion, and the role of faith in daily life reverberated throughout the medieval period, influencing countless beings in their pursuit of spirituality. The Cistercian order grew exponentially following Bernard's death, with new monasteries founded throughout Europe that adhered to his strict guidelines of austerity and devotion to God. His commitment to social justice and care for the poor fostered a spirit of charity in monastic communities, encouraging Cistercians to serve society, which helped shape the Church's role in later medieval culture. Bernard's writings continue to inform theological discussions well into the Renaissance, as scholars revisited his works, finding relevance in his thoughts on Christology and ecclesiastical authority. His influence became particularly evident in the growth of Marian devotion, with many later saints and theologians drawing inspiration from Bernard's emphasis on the Virgin Mary's role in faith. Bernard's legacy is reflected in the numerous places named after him, including churches and monasteries worldwide, serving as reminders of his dedication to monastic life and spiritual growth. His feast day is celebrated on August 20th across various Christian denominations, allowing believers to remember and honor the contributions of Bernard to the Church and his community. On August 20th, 1153, the world bid farewell to Bernard of Clairvaux, a towering figure in medieval Christianity who left a profound impact on monastic life and spiritual practices. Born in 1090 in Fontaine-les-Dijon, Bernard emerged from noble roots, receiving a classical education that would inform his theological pursuits, setting the stage for his impactful future. In 1113, at the age of 23, Bernard joined the Cistercian monastery at Quito, committing himself to a life of rigorous spiritual discipline and communal living, which would define his legacy. By 1115, Bernard founded the Abbey of Clairvaux, establishing a beacon of Cistercian monasticism that would propagate across Europe, birthing hundreds of religious communities. Bernard's growing reputation as a preacher in the 1140s galvanized knights and nobles to join the Second Crusade, showcasing his ability to influence significant political and military actions through faith. Advocating for austere living, Bernard emphasized harmony with nature, urging his followers to connect deeply with creation while seeking spiritual enlightenment. His influential writings, including On the Consideration of the Atonement, shaped theological discourse in the early 12th century and provided profound insights into the nature of salvation. Advising Pope Eugene III on church reforms, Bernard played a key role in shaping ecclesiastical policies, ensuring his vision of reform took root within the church hierarchy. Bernard was a pioneer in Mariology, devoting heartfelt writings to the Virgin Mary, thereby deepening the faithful's devotion and esteem towards her within the Church. Despite facing declining health in the early 1150s, Bernard continued to lead his community with unwavering faith, embodying the virtues he preached throughout his life. He passed away on August 20th, 1153, at Clairvaux, surrounded by brethren who honored his legacy of monastic dedication and spiritual guidance up until his last moments. Posthumously, his numerous writings gained traction, shaping Christian spirituality and ethics, while securing his place as a saint in the annals of church history. In 1174, Bernard was canonized by Pope Alexander III, forever immortalizing his contributions to the Church and ensuring his teachings continued to resonate through the ages. Bernard's teachings on social justice and spiritual authenticity shaped Christian ethics, influencing not only monastic communities but society at large during the medieval period. His role in the propagation of the Cistercian order led to the founding of over 700 monasteries, profoundly impacting monastic practices across Europe and establishing a lasting framework for future generations. Numerous places, churches, and institutions bear Bernard's name, a testament to his enduring legacy within ecclesiastical history and his representation of humility and service. His feast day, celebrated on August 20th, honors not only his life, but also the virtues of humility, devotion, and piety he championed, guiding the faithful in their spiritual journeys. Bernard's emphasis on contemplative prayer and community engagement resonates today, encouraging individuals to seek a deeper connection with their faith and the world around them. In contemporary discussions about faith and ethics, Bernard's work continues to inspire Christians and spiritual seekers, advocating for a compassionate, justice-oriented approach to life. Through his life and teachings, Bernard of Clairvaux remains a guiding light for seekers of truth, exemplifying the harmony of faith, action, and community in pursuit of a higher calling. As his influence endures, Bernard's call to live a life of humility, service, and devotion resonates with those striving for authenticity in their spiritual journeys.